Hi everyone, hopefully you've seen us out and about the last few days with these cards asking you for questions. Some of the most popular questions we're now going to pose to the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Gavin Brooks. Will the co-op be expanded? It's too small and you can't move around.
Obviously the co-op's been operating now on campus for a couple of years. It's a much improved service and provision than what we had previously. I use it often and I recognise it is very busy at certain times. It is constrained though in terms of the footprint of the building that the co-op can expand into. In terms of whether there are other options beyond the co-op or whether the co-op perhaps could open another outlet elsewhere on campus, that's something that we might be able to consider. But I think where it's currently based, in terms of expanding that current provision, it would be quite difficult to do so. If there's something that we can then feed back to the co-op, because they are one of our partners, we'll feed that back to them and they can think about the way that the customers flow through the store. That might be something that we could see some improvement on that basis.
Yeah. I would also encourage students, if it's insanely busy and you can't get in, to try different outlets around campus, because there's so many. There's cafes in lots of the departmental buildings, there's places to eat in the RUSU building, there's Dolce Vita, and there's places all around campus. So if it is too busy and you can't get in, feel free to venture out to somewhere else.
Will there be better signage around campus for freshers and open day in the future? For example, a map app on campus.
An app is really important to enable students to engage with where it is on campus they need to be going and have the safest route to get there. So Student Services is now taking forward a proposal to introduce an app that will be available as part of the student package. And in the next few months we'll be able to report more on that, but I'm hoping that will be fully up and running.
Will there be more study spaces open throughout the year, as the library is already overcrowded?
I think first of all it's really important for students but also the university generally to understand we have far more study spaces now with the new library having been opened than we've ever had. So we have 1,500 student study spaces in the library. That's more than we had in the library and the URS building combined originally. But it's really important to remember that study spaces are not just available in the library, they're available across the campus. We have a number of other buildings where study spaces are available. If you look on the study map, that's where I'd advise all students to look. It's something that the university is always mindful of, and we're working really closely with yourselves and with the estates department here. It's a continuous improvement programme that we're on. I am pleased that we have far more than we've ever had before, and the quality of those is also far better than they've ever been.
So we're also working with money from the Student Experience Fund. We're also developing 8 new spaces this year that will be developed as new study spaces.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and I think that's another important thing to say about the way that students, yourselves, but also the wider student body can help inform the university about what's needed.
Why aren't the lectures recorded at the university?
Some of our lectures are recorded at the moment and placed on Blackboard, which is the virtual learning environment all students have access to. But this is one thing we've had on our agenda, I would say, for about 4 or 5 years now, to ensure that we have the infrastructure so that all lectures and additional lecture materials are available for them to access through Blackboard. We've got a programme of work going on now that's been funded to deliver a number of options for us under lecture capture that RUSU is involved with as well. We sit on that committee and I would hope that within the next 12 to 18 months we'll have a position where we're much clearer on in terms of when we will be delivering that for students, but also in what format and how it will be and how students can access it. So I would hope within this academic year we'll know a lot more, but by next academic year we should actually be delivering it on a regular basis.
Our next question is, what is the university doing to support students who have been victims of sexual abuse?
Okay, well, I think this helps to introduce the service that we've put in place to support students, not just who maybe are facing sexual abuse, but any form of area of concern that they might have. So the student welfare team was created a year or so ago, where it's a dedicated team based in student services, open for all students to go in, no appointment needed or anything like that, to really discuss any issue that student might have in a confidential surroundings. Advice would then be given as appropriate to whatever that situation might be. It might be a referral onto counselling, it might be a referral onto RUSU for advice, or it might be referral onto some other service that the university has association with, either in the university or outside. It could be the health service. It links really closely though, I think, with the Never OK campaign, which obviously RUSU's been really strongly pushing, the university very supportive of.
The aim of the Never OK campaign is to show that we don't accept bullying, harassment or discrimination, and if you do experience any of those, Never OK has a reporting system, so you can email the Never OK email. This will then go through to the welfare team, who will deal with the issue confidentially, and they will either support you, they may support you through reporting it to the police, or they might support you in getting in touch with Trust House, who have independent sexual violence advisors, so they are experienced in advising people that have suffered with sexual assault, and then they will help you through the process.
The other thing I just pick up on that is that absolutely the advice would be given initially from the student welfare team, but there is a process of disciplinary action that can be taken within the university. So I would encourage any student who is concerned that something has happened that's inappropriate to follow that route, and then reassure everyone that the university does have processes that are in place to follow that through to the end.
So can you create better safety / security around the campus lake?
I think first of all to stress the fact that safety on campus generally is a major priority for the university, and we put a lot of effort into ensuring that the security and safety generally around all of our campuses is the best it can be. Certainly though, with the very unfortunate event that happened earlier this year around the lake, we've had a working group looking at how we might improve lake safety, and that's included members from RUSU and very valuable input from students as well as to how we might look to improve safety around that area. A number of recommendations were made from that group, and we also needed to await the outcome of the coroner's report from that incident, which didn't actually add any new recommendations to those we'd already identified. So the recommendations that we've taken forward already include better signage around those areas and those routes that are lit across campus at night. Also, we are looking to improve the paths around the lake as well. The main thing I think I'd like to stress is that the recommendation, particularly after dark, is to take the lit routes, not the unlit. But of course it's a very important part of our campus. It's a part of the campus that all members of staff and students enjoy and should continue to enjoy, but in as safe an environment as possible. We will continue to keep people, students, staff, the whole community updated as to where we are with that as we go forwards.
What's happening with the 3G pitch?
3G pitch was one of a number of projects that we're funding under the £1 million Student Experience Fund that the university, working with RUSU, puts forward to support student experience projects each year. We've delivered a number of projects already under that fund, so things like hydration stations, the lockers, and the 3G pitch probably the most significant of all of those because it will run over a few years before it's fully delivered. Where we are with that at the moment is it's been costed. We have the various feasibility studies going on in terms of planning, and the university, as part of its processes, works through a planning and project committee round. I chair those committees and know that it's progressing as fast as it can at the moment, working very closely with RUSU, and Daisy might say a bit more about that.
So it's still going full steam ahead. We had to do a few more surveys to reassure the local residents and the community that it wouldn't affect them too much with the building work which we've done. We are hosting a community forum soon so that the community can ask any questions they have about the pitch and how it's going to affect them. And I'm currently working with the FA, the England Cricket Board and Sport England to get their backing on how this build will improve provision and widen participation in those sports. So the next step hopefully is that it goes again to planning permission with the local council. So we've had another question that is, how can active student societies get funding from the university for their events? So I'm happy to just answer this one. If the society is struggling to get enough funding from its own members and from RUSU, there are some university avenues that they can try. So I know that the alumni department at the university give grants for societies that need an extra boost. They also have a crowdfunding system for societies to use, which I actually used with my society in the past. And they also quite frequently have one-off grants for things like diverse events, or most recently there was a pot of money for societies that were doing events for LGBT inclusion. So just keep an eye out because there is money available. So the next question is, what is the university doing to decrease its environmental impact?
Environmental sustainability is absolutely core to the university strategy. It's one of the main pillars that we have in terms of wanting to deliver in terms of improved sustainability generally in the way that we operate, but that also includes the way that we provide services for students, for staff, and very much at the core of the work we've been leading on in climate change. So the climate stripes image that you see on the Palmer building is one that we've created here at the University of Reading. It's known worldwide now, and I think it really helps to demonstrate that the university is really wedded to improving sustainability, climate change more widely as we go forwards. And I think one good example of what we have done recently is the library refurbishment. So the great thing about that building is that our energy emissions will be cut by 40% and our carbon emissions by 30%. So just in one building we have managed to, which is very heavily used by students, we've managed to improve a number of sustainability targets through that route. And I know there are a number of other aspects as well that RUSU have been heavily involved in.
Yeah, there's been a number of practical examples across the university. So through the Million, we've increased water stations around campus. The catering outlets should definitely be congratulated for the work they've done over the summer in providing local, refillable and reusable produce that goes beyond just food at Eat in the Square and in Park Bar as well. I think there's also some small wins that we should be proud of. There's no there's no plastic straws on campus anymore across RUSU and the university. So yeah.
We're also rolling out a scheme called Olio, which is a food recycling scheme to reduce food from going in the bin. And we also, as staff, we use a platform called Jump to compete against different departments to who can produce the least waste, which really motivates the university staff to be more sustainable as well. And I know that the halls providers, UPP, are doing a lot of work to encourage students in halls to be more sustainable with their waste as well.
Great. I think it just illustrates the fact there's more to be done, but as a community we're working together to deliver on that.
Yeah.